It's always lit over at AJsRantRoom.com. We got the best bags and accessories, our beloved Black Series. We got fresh lids for you hat lovers, fire jackets and hoodies, and of course we got you covered on the t-shirts. And introducing our first shoe line, Aloysius Germain. So get on over to AJsRantRoom.com today and get to shopping. You won't be disappointed.
Welcome in, welcome in. How do? All right, there I am. Couldn't hear her. I was like, kind of low, iffy. Anyway, welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Happy Thursday. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you see me? Let's do the thing. Where are the people today? I should plug that in. Boom. Oh yeah. ah, not a ICE making my current business plan for ICE protection services. Hey, protect our agents because this is getting wild. This is getting absolutely out of control. But we have to start on a sad note. Well, I mean, none of this is joyful that I'm going to talk about today, but um, where are we? Okay, so I just saw that Judge Janine posted that we have a fallen officer in the DC MPD. And so her caption reads, "Today we mourn the loss of DC MPD officer Terry Bennett. He was 32 years old, a dedicated public servant who gave his life helping others on I-695. He was struck by a vehicle. I think I saw that when I looked it up. Yeah, he was struck by a vehicle. Officer Bennett was a young father, a husband, and an 8-year veteran of the MPD. His courage and commitment to the community will never be forgotten. Our thoughts and prayers are with Officer Bennett's family, friends, and fellow officers. May he rest in peace." Yes, rest in peace, Officer Bennett. Every day, these men and women go out here, and they have families. They have families, and they risk it all so that we could be just a little bit safer. So we could be safer, a lot safer, a little bit safer, right? They risk it all. And so when we have literal American citizens who don't understand the privilege that they live under, acting like crazy people, this is why. And as I've always said, I back the blue. I don't back wrongful behavior. Now, if a police officer makes a bad move or judgment, I will absolutely call that out. But this isn't the case here. And this wasn't the case in Minneapolis. Hold on one second. I have to get oh, there it is. All right. Anyway, so yes, rest in peace, Officer Bennett. Thank you for making the ultimate sacrifice for our safety. And I know this is probably a horrible time for your family and everyone who loved you. And all I can do is thank you. And yes, appreciate you. Now let's move on to people who don't know how to just express their grievances and move on with their day. What did the producer do? What did the producer do? What happened? Prince, not Prince, Brian. Y'all one and the same in terms of being that person. But anyway, so we've all seen the video. For those of us who have actually care about the incident, you've seen it from multiple angles, so you understand exactly what happened here. Okay. So we're not, going to sit here and sell you something that didn't happen just because political beliefs or who you voted for. Like, I don't care about any of that, right? Right is right and wrong is wrong, right? There's no middle ground, no middle ground, no in between, no kind of sorta, no maybe we could do this, no maybe we could do that. No, right is right and wrong is wrong. So let's get into it because clearly, in the year of our Lord 2026, it is damn near impossible to have a logical adult conversation on these here interwebs without somebody losing their ever loving mind. I mean, clutching their pearls or pretending they suddenly don't understand how the country they live in actually works. So let me slow this down for the emotional, for the dishonest, and the willfully ignorant. The men and women of ICE were executing a lawful arrest. This wasn't a random stop. This wasn't a rogue operation. This is not some Trump militia. A lawful arrest. ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, has been a federal agency since 2003. So let me repeat that because, some of y'all act like ICE just showed up last Tuesday with President Trump. 2003. That's 2 decades. They didn't magically appear when Trump took the oath of office on January 20th. They didn't pop up because Twitter got mad. They didn't form because TikTok activists needed content. They are certified federal officers, American citizens, men and women sworn to uphold federal immigration law, protect national security, and maintain public safety. And yet, in this clown show political climate, these agents have been under constant siege. They've been harassed, they've been doxxed, blocked, chased, filmed, threatened, shot at, all because people have replaced law with feelings. And now here we are. The woman who was shot yesterday in Minneapolis was not some innocent bystander. She was not some onlooker. She wasn't just standing there, you know, drinking a coffee, enjoying the protests. Per eyewitness accounts, not Twitter threads, not think pieces, she was the main vehicle blocking ICE agents from doing their job. She was obstructing traffic and interfering with a federal operation for an extended period of time. And then she made the worst decision possible. She attempted to use her vehicle as a weapon against a federal agent. Let me be crystal clear, because this is where the people, this is where folks start lying and making up things and, using their emotions as logic. A car, like a gun, like a knife, like a baseball bat, and many other things, in the hands of the wrong person is a deadly weapon. Full stop. Period. Dot. Courts have ruled on this. Law enforcement trains on this. Federal agents absolutely respond to this. You don't get to drive forward toward an agent and then act shocked when it ends badly. This whole situation, this whole moment, totally avoidable. She was not ambushed. She was not forced. She was not trapped. Yeah, she made a choice. And ladies and gentlemen, we all know that choices have consequences. And when you are faced with one of those consequences, you can't go back and rewrite it. And that's the unfortunate part. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, choices have consequences.
They clearly wanted her out of there because she was the main car leading the protest, is my understanding. I talked to another guy who was driving behind her, but she was very successful in blocking traffic. She was doing what she was set out to do, and so they wanted to get her the hell out of there. Yeah.
So it looked like she was impeding ICE vehicles.
Definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Eyewitnesses stated she was actively obstructing, blocking, and escalating the situation. This wasn't a peaceful protest, ladies and gentlemen. This wasn't civil disobedience. This was, in fact, interference with a federal law enforcement operation. You can chant, you can yell, you can record, you can wave signs, but you cannot and will not, and once you put a agent's life in danger, once you put an agent's life in danger, it's game over, baby. You can't do that. Let me educate some of y'all really quickly. You have a constitutional right to protest, to gather, to assemble, to peacefully assemble, right? You do. You do not have the right to block federal officers, obstruct traffic, disobey lawful commands, use a vehicle as intimidation. You do not have the right to endanger lives. That is not protected under the Constitution. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a crime. Whether ICE is present or not, blocking traffic is illegal. Using your car to threaten someone is illegal. Ignoring commands from federal officers is illegal. I literally lost my cool on my own live stream yesterday because this 18-year-old bimbo came up into my live stream talking about how ICE cannot enforce. They were trying to enforce a warrant. We're like, no. They can detain somebody. They can detain someone who's being unlawful. Absolutely. You don't need a warrant for that. A warrant is something that's signed off by a judge, meaning there's enough, grand jury, whatever happened, now there's enough warrant. Okay, bam, there's enough to go get this person. Go get them. That's what they were trying to execute. They were just trying to get her out of the way. And she's being unlawful by blocking traffic. So yeah, it is what it is. Ignoring commands from a federal agent is illegal. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if you don't like what the ICE agents are there to do. This idea that activism gives you immunity is a fantasy. You don't get immunity because you don't like something, And this is where local leadership, your local political leaders failed you.
I'm not finna go into who was in the right, who was in the wrong with that Minnesota lady every day.
Facts.
I'm not putting my life on the line for no strangers, yet alone people that's not even from here. If somebody told me ICE is coming to my city, which has already happened, I'm staying out the way. What do I look like going in the streets trying to protect people that's not even from here?
Preach.
Or whatever the situation is. They could be from here. I'm still not protecting a stranger in general. I got people depending on me. Don't forget that. So in this situation, they say ICE is coming to your city in Minneapolis to figure out what's going on with this Somali fraud. Thank you. Why in the world would I need to hit the streets and stop that? I don't know. I just know it don't seem like y'all care about y'all kids enough. I don't need my child to be fatherless. And I definitely don't need him to understand that he lost his father because his father was out there defending.
Exactly. I'm out here defending illegal aliens and people who've committed heinous crimes. This is the sickness. I mean, you have people literally on the street filming for clout, narrating nonsense, encouraging escalation. Nobody on those phones was jumping in front of that bullet. They weren't going to jump in front of that bullet for that woman. Nobody recording is going to raise her child, right? Who's now motherless. Which brings me to the point. And the question I ask every single time one of these stupid things happen, was it worth it? Was it worth it? You weren't thinking about your 6-year-old child when you decided to play hero in the street for illegal aliens and people with criminal records. You weren't thinking about your partner who was standing there screaming, "Oh, that's my wife, that's my wife." You weren't thinking about your tomorrow, the tomorrow of your family. You were thinking about the moment. And let's be clear, that moment, it didn't love you back. Now let's talk about failed leadership, because this situation didn't just expose reckless activists. It exposed a spineless mayor who does not deserve to run a major American city. Mayor of Minneapolis, a certified beta male, a certified emotional performative liberal, a man more concerned with optics and activist applause than public safety and the rule of law. Instead of doing the one job he actually has in moments like this, which is to de-escalate and create clarity, he chose to attack law enforcement.
And I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave. It's on you to make sure that further damage, further loss of life and injury is not.
Let me explain something slowly for the mayors. Your job is not to emotionally validate chaos. Your job is not to signal to agitators that law enforcement doesn't matter in your city. That's federal or local. Your job is not to pour gasoline on a volatile situation and then act shocked when somebody ends up dead. This woman was responsible for her life, not ICE. This woman would be alive today if she had just dropped her child off to daycare and went to work or went home or went and run errands or whatever she really needed to do that day. But no, she wanted to block traffic. She wanted to be Captain Save-A-Ho. And the hoe got. Your job, mayor, is to say this clearly. You have the right to protest. You do not have the right to obstruct federal officers. You do not have the right to block streets. You do not have the right to endanger lives. Ladies and gentlemen, that right there is called leadership. And you and every other Democrat politician parroting the same talking points, you all have failed your constituents. You have failed the people of your respective jurisdictions. ICE agents can detain you if you obstruct their lawful duties. No, they do not need a warrant to detain you for obstruction. That's not opinion. That's the law, ladies and gentlemen. If you interfere with a federal arrest, you are inviting consequences. You don't settle disputes with law enforcement in the street. You settle it in the courtroom, but you know you don't have a case to stand on. So you thought acting like a baboon's ass was going to get you what you wanted, and it got you dead. And you know what the streets don't have that the courts do? They have appeals. They don't have appeals in the street. Courts have appeals. Once you make a bad decision in the street, that could cost you everything. That could cost you your entire life.
I saw the video on numerous occasions. And seeing what transpired from a lawful perspective, as it pertains to a law enforcement official, don't expect him to be prosecuted. He was completely justified.
Yep, completely justified. And we're going to watch several angles in a moment.
From a humanitarian perspective, however, why did you have to do that?
That's not humanitarian. That's emotional. That's emotional. And everybody can Monday morning quarterback after something like this happens. But the bottom line is Stephen A. And like I said, Stephen A. is like Dr. Umar. He's like Nick Fuentes. A broken clock can be right twice a day, right? This is not humanity. This is emotionalism. What about his humanity? What about the ICE agent's humanity? That's a human being, too, that almost got crushed by a multi-ton vehicle. Stephen A. So, yeah, even though he had even if he moved out of the way so he wouldn't face the full impact, it was still a threat. We've already made that case clear. That's an active threat. You charged your car toward me. You saw me standing in front of your car and accelerated it. Thankfully, he moved out of the way and wasn't serious, like super injured or killed. Yeah. But no, I'm not playing the emotionalism, but go ahead.
If you could move out the way, that means you could have shot the tires.
Yeah, we could always go back and remix how we could have done something. Yeah. That's valid. But no. Again, this is all on her. This has nothing to do with the agent. The agent did his job.
That means you could have got her a few feet away after you shot the tires. And if you were unsuccessful in doing that, you could have got her down the road.
Yeah, or I could have stood there and let this bimbo roll over me, and I'm crushed. My brains are splattered all over the street because her tire literally crushed my skull. And now I have these baboons who are yelling and screaming, "You did a murder!" Filming me die on the street and not helping me and laughing and applauding.
You didn't have to do that.
Yeah, he didn't have to. She also didn't have to block traffic with her car. She also didn't have to break the law that day. So she's way more culpable here than the ICE agent ever will be.
She wasn't driving down the road coming at you 90 miles an hour.
I don't give a damn if she tapped the agent with the car. A threat is a threat. I don't know what your intention is. You forget, these people don't know each other, right? It's not like this is his ex-wife or something and like he knows her. This is a stranger. These are two strangers. And that's why you obey the commands of the federal officer and not sit up there and take the law into your own hands. When you take the law into your own hands, oh, well.
He was parked in the middle of the street. And rather than get out the car, she wrongfully tried to drive off.
Yep. And wrongfully almost killed another human being. So if we want to talk about humanity, these ICE agents are human beings before they are any of their titles. So yeah, you want people to see her humanity, but you got to see that agent's humanity first. He wants to go home to his family just like she did, right? But if it's his life against hers, guess who's not going to win?
And wrongfully disregarded law enforcement official, which is exactly what ICE is. And as a result, lost her life because of it. I'm here to tell you that at some point in time, you got to ask yourself, what damn country do you want to live in? At some point in time, we're going to have to ask ourselves that question. And I think the time is sooner than later. Because again, from a legal perspective, don't expect this ICE officer to be prosecuted. I'm telling you right now.
He's not going to be.
She was in the car. Renee Nicole Good, 37 years of age.
37 years old. Wait, did he say she was protesting? Hold on. Back up.
Officer to be prosecuted. I'm telling you right now. She was in the car. Renee Nicole Good, 37 years of age.
Okay.
Protesting.
Oh, he did say protesting. No, Stephen A., she was not protesting. She was performing an unlawful act. That's what she was doing, Stephen A. No. You're not going to glaze her in death. You're not going to do that. You're not going to do that, bro. You're not going to do that. She was not protesting. Protesting and how it's constitutionally protected, your ass is on the sidewalk. You could stand there and protest. You could have your signs. You can yell. You can scream. You can do all of that. Once your car is obstructing the flow of business, that's on you.
Blocking off the streets. ICE wanted her to move.
No, a protest is not blocking off the street. See, Stephen A., this is why this is where your political ignorance shows up. This is where your ignorance of law shows up. She was not protesting.
An officer got in front of the car. Another officer got to the side of the car, and then she tried to take off. And in their eyes, the Christy Gnomes of the world for the Department of Homeland Security, and other folks on the right are saying, yo, they consider it an act of domestic terrorism because she tried to run over an ICE officer.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is, Stephen A., not what it's considered. You sound like you're really cozying up to this thug. She died because of her choices, not because what the ICE agents did. What they did was in response to what she chose to do that day.
It's not going to be prosecuted.
No.
My point is, let's not focus on that for a second, okay? She was wrong to drive off.
No. She was wrong to be there, period. No. She wasn't wrong to drive. She was wrong to block traffic, period. She was wrong to obstruct the ICE agents from executing their jobs, period. The drive off is just the cherry on top. The drive off is what got her popped.
I'd have done that. Should have got out of her car to prove that she was not going to be any harm, or she should have asked the officer, I'm pulling over. Could you move out the way, please? Instead of trying to disregard him totally to the point where you're going to take off and potentially hit him, and he moves out the way and draws his gun and shoots through the front windshield.
Stephen A. is twerking on the fence right now. I hate when people twerk on the fence. Don't twerk on the fence. Because what he's trying to do, he's still trying to ingratiate himself to his liberal friends, while at the same time kind of making it clear that she was absolutely wrong here. No, I hate twerking on the fence. I hate it.
Took her out. But it wasn't necessary. You could have arrested her. You could have spared the woman's life.
We couldn't arrest her. She was trying to kill me. Next.
You didn't have to kill her.
She didn't have to block traffic. Again, you play stupid games, you will always win stupid prizes. Period.
We've seen plenty of incidences throughout the United States of America, historically and frequently, and recently, where people who committed crimes or people whose behavior weren't indicative of law-abiding citizens who were simply obeying law enforcement officials, we've seen them walk away alive.
Yeah, great. One incident has nothing to do with the other. I hate when people do this. Well, somebody got life in prison in Florida, but they got a slap on the wrist in Wisconsin. Well, they're not even the same jurisdictions. They're not governed by the same state laws. What are we talking about? They're not being seen by the same judge. They haven't faced the same jury. What are we talking about here? Who cares, Stephen A? This is all emotional.
We've seen them walk away cuffed, but they walked away alive. So even though the law, from a literal perspective, might be on his side, the reality is that your humanity comes into question because you didn't have to kill her.
Well, again.
She didn't have to die.
Well. Say what you want, Stephen A. But accountability is accountability. And the accountability, the biggest portion of this is on her. The biggest portion is on her. 37-year-old mother. Priorities, people. You don't get to violate the law and then cry when the law responds. That's it, full stop. The mainstream media, let's talk about these people, because the media doesn't understand certain things. Well, they do, but then they act dumb. The mainstream media, in terms of this case, is doing what they do best. They're cropping the footage, they're showing one angle, they're ignoring the context, they're omitting eyewitness accounts, and then they ask us why we don't trust them. That's why we don't trust you, mainstream media, because you'll feed us what you want us to know, or you'll feed the boneheads who like you because they think you're a liberal or whatever, even if you watch like Fox News or whatever. Stop confirming your bias, people, and actually seek the truth of the situation, because you don't tell the whole truth by spinning a narrative. And it's a damn shame that we have to be fed I have to be fed a piece of information, and then I got to go source your information with other things to make sure nothing was omitted to fit a narrative. This wasn't a nefarious act by ICE. This was a response to an imminent threat. This woman is dead because of her actions. That doesn't mean you celebrate it. That doesn't mean you laugh. But it does mean tell the truth. ICE was executing court-approved warrants. They weren't random people. These weren't made-up charges. Judges signed off. Some of these individuals had prior deportation orders. Some have criminal histories. Some pose legitimate threats to public safety. And we're sitting here talking about this one incident this is the drama? And it's unfortunate that to the activist class, none of this matters. They block traffic like that. Stop federal authority. They scream like volume overrides law. It doesn't. Now let's watch. So I'm gonna play this without the sound. So this is the angle that the media wanted to sell us. So it makes it look like there was no agent in front of the car. And so when you go and watch the video, you're like, oh, well, there's no problem here. There's no problem. Yes, there's a big problem here. So again, this video has no sound. So because I don't, TikTok is the main reason why the video has no sound. So the agents get out because they need her to move. Now, that's what they're selling us. And then, she goes up and hits hits a parked car, and that's where she expires. Unfortunate, But here's another angle. And then I saw her face. Wait a minute. I thought I muted this. Wait. Mute, please. We don't need any copyrights. All right, great. So you'll see the agent. Oh, I'm pointing at the screen like you can literally see me pointing. But if you look, it's a little grainy because it's zoomed in. But you can see the agent in front of the vehicle, and you can see him get tapped by the vehicle. And if he didn't use his reflexes, he would have gotten killed. So how do we not see that? How do we not see that? How? Oh, because the media told us it didn't happen. The media told us it didn't happen. So here's all right. So Natalie here broke it down perfectly. 1, she was ordered out of the car. 2, she refuses. 3, she backs up. 4, she drives forward into an ICE agent. 5, the ICE agent pulls out his pew-pew. Only when she starts moving forward into his body. Ladies and gentlemen, that's called self-defense. Case closed. There should be no question about anything else after that moment. But of course, feelings, nothing more than feelings. Because the reality of the situation is you can't paint the narrative you want in a world where everybody's filming tragedy. So now you have all of these angles. Funny how that other angle didn't trend, because it destroys the narrative. It destroys the untruths about what this agent actually did. Is it easy to watch someone die? Absolutely not. It's not easy to watch somebody get shot. And yes, I absolutely do send condolences to her family. A child lost a parent. That's absolutely tragic. But let's be clear, tragedy does not erase responsibility, does not exempt you from accountability. If she had struck that agent, I can promise you this, if she had actually hit that agent, ran him over, the same people filming and being outraged, oh my God, you did a murder, would have been cheering. So let's be honest. Now, he doesn't get to go home to his family. If he has children, his children will not, he will not get to see his children grow into adults. We've seen people justify violence over words. Now, somebody commits a violent act on camera, and she's the victim. No. Ladies and gentlemen, this is called you reap what you sow. And so every time this happens, one of these things, and it becomes a news thing, TikTok turns into law school. No. ICE agents cannot detain you for no reason. Yes, they can detain you for obstruction. Stop lying to the people. Stop spreading misinformation that gets people killed. So again, was it worth it? Was it worth your life? Was it worth your daughter growing up without you? Was it absolutely worth it, ma'am? Because the people of ICE was there to arrest illegal immigrants who have no entitlement here. If I want to go live in another country, I have to figure out what that country's immigration policy is. If I want to go live somewhere else, I have to go find out what their immigration laws are. I can't just pack my bags and show up and drop my stuff and then wave my American flag all over the place. That's not how that works. And guess what? You're dead, and those people were still arrested. They will still be deported. Nothing you did that day stopped the process. ICE agents are not terrorists. They're not agitators. They're not vigilantes. They are law enforcement professionals, federal law enforcement professionals doing a job that existed long before your podcast mic turned on. Long before your camera holding up your camera phones to get the action so you could be the first one to post and go viral. Every country on earth enforces their immigration laws. Try pulling this in another nation and see how fast reality checks you. And again, this goes back to leadership. This goes back to a mayor who chose politics over peace. This is weak leadership. Who gave his constituents, or probably didn't even give them any advice on how to actively protest. How to, yeah, you can protest, but you can't obstruct. You may not endanger the lives of these agents. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it, but you don't get to be unlawful. And then I'll say this. This is a distraction. Minnesota is having some really big problems. If you watch the testimony on the Hill yesterday, Minnesota is Tim Walz, Keith Ellison, several other people, y'all about to go down. And this is just one big distraction. Massive fraud investigations in Minnesota. More coming in California, New York, and elsewhere. Where was the outrage then? Why is there more outrage for a person being unlawful and losing their life than for the massive tax dollars that have been stolen from the American people? Mostly by people who have no entitlements to this land. Where were the press conferences, Mr. Mayor? Funny how selective accountability works. And as I said before, this incident, yes, it was very, very unfortunate, but it was justified. Law enforcement has been attacked repeatedly, from ICE to the local police to the National Guard. I do not, and I never will, have sympathy for lawlessness disguised as activism. Rest in peace. And God protect every federal agent who puts on a badge knowing that they might not come home. Not because of criminals, but because of people who don't respect the law. You don't get to do just whatever you want. That's not what freedom means. Freedom still needs rules. And if you exercise that free will beyond the law, yeah, you will pay. And you just might, like this woman, pay with your life. And that's my rant. Right is right. ladies and gentlemen. Right is right and wrong is wrong. So you can go back to your feelings. You can go back to crying about tragedies that didn't happen. But if you're really seeking the truth and you really want justice, there's a way to go about it. And if these people have been in your communities for years, Mr. Mayor, why didn't you support getting them citizenship? Did you citizenship? So we're not sitting here, in a conundrum when we get a president in here who really wants to bust all of this up. The jig is up. You're going home. There are millions of people who did it the right way. Millions of people who immigrated to this country the right way. And tomorrow on my other podcast, The Rant Experience, I'll be talking about net zero immigration. And in light of all of the things that are happening in Minnesota and Boston and other cities, I might be in favor of it at this point. Because you know what they say, only a couple of people mess it up for everybody else, right? And so why do we need to keep importing people from third world countries? Why at this point? This is not the America of yesteryear. Bring us your poor, bring us your tired, bring us your needy. Those days are over. Ellis Island is over. Statue of Liberty is over. That's done. America is an established superpower. That's it. And that's why these musty people want to come here and pull and steal and bribe and backbite and send it back to their musty countries. You don't get to do that. You don't get the privilege to steal from my nation and think there will be no repercussions. And I can promise you this, as I said, I believe on Monday, if Kamala Harris and Tim Walz won the 2024 election, this probably would have come up, but it would have been buried. The story would have been killed in a New York Minute. But Tim Walz is going down. Keith Ellison is going down, and everybody else involved. Yeah, because you knew about it. It was testified to under oath. Yeah, you're going down. Meet me in the trail is going down. So yes, don't let the deflection and the distraction of this woman's death. Yeah. Keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye on what Nick Shirley exposed. Keep your eye on what actually matters in all of this. It has nothing to do with ICE agents and all of this crap. Because if the previous administration had done their jobs, we wouldn't be here now, would we? We wouldn't have lost so many Americans in reckless ways, from drunk driving to rape and murder, right? Several people. And those are just the ones we know about. Y'all giving illegal aliens CDLs to operate multi-ton 18-wheelers on our highways, killing American citizens? No. This must end. This must absolutely end. You don't get to do that in America. You can go do that in Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, wherever you come from, but you don't get to do it here. Full stop. Anyway, thank you all for watching today. I appreciate it. If you would like to support the channel, you can go to AJsRantRoom.com. That's my official merch store, AJsRantRoom.com. This is my new logo. These are the new hoodies with the new logo on them. We have a lot of variety stuff. Not everything's political there, but there's some political stuff. So if you're easily triggered, get over it. If you want to buy me a coffee, you can go to buymeacoffee.com or scan this beautiful QR code and go buy me a coffee, or you can scan this beautiful QR code and send me a Cash App if you so like. Or you can go to AJ's Rant on Cash App. Tomorrow night on my other podcast, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, The Rant Experience, which is more of a variety show. So we talk politics, but we also talk about social issues, music, nostalgia, inspirational, and some funny, things that are placate to my humor. But anyway, you don't have to, whatever. Anyway, the RANT experience will be on tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we will absolutely be talking about net zero immigration. And basically, I will make my case for it, and then I will also be talking about the results of what happened on the Hill yesterday regarding the hearings on fraud, and they're trying to get Tim Walz to testify before Congress. So that absolutely has to happen. But anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate it. And please make sure you like, please make sure you share, make sure you comment, subscribe. And if you subscribe for the first time, hit that notification bell so you're notified every time we go live or upload a new video. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later on TikTok. Peace.